Many survivors of trauma learn to keep their experiences in the silence. This could be either silencing that occurs from victim blaming or a family's unspoken secrets, or in this case, a community's inability to make sense of their shared experience. These are all factors that can send trauma into the shadows. Yet, this is the very silence that can impede healing. Silence about trauma leaves a painful scar in a community that isolates people from their shared experience of pain. I'm going to share a tool that can offer a step for our community to step out of the silence while still maintaining individuals' sense of safety and of trust. This is called a Mailbox project, and it has been used in many communities, including university campuses. It's been used oceanside at beaches to collect responses from the crowd of ocean goers, and even on murals in cities where people are invited to respond on the mural wall. So the project starts with a community-wide prompt. So this could be quarantine made me stronger because, as a way for a community to wrestle with the pain and the trauma of an unexpected pandemic that could have caused isolation. Or a prompt could be, I see white supremacy in our community when, to have you think through the trauma that white supremacy leaves on a community and how that affects them and how they've seen it. So here are the steps. A mailbox is placed in a community space and the prompt is copied on pieces of paper. Youth are then invited to write their story about the community's shared trauma from their experience by writing it anonymously on one of those pieces of paper and placing it in the mailbox. So then there are a couple of other steps that help to support the youth through sharing their stories of things that could have been traumatic and helping to get that unstuck and move forward. First, you can choose whether these responses are read by a person, by a staff member, or by parents, or by anybody. You can choose if they're shared in aggregate form. So for example, the murals in the cities, everyone could see that wall. And you wouldn't see who had written it, but it was shared in aggregate form as a collective consciousness. Or never looked at again. So somebody drops a sheet of paper in there and those are destroyed. Whichever you choose, make sure that youth clearly know what will happen to it before they have written anything on the paper. So this is that important act of trust that makes things trauma informed, that they know if they take that vulnerable act of sharing a story, sharing a feeling, sharing an observation, that they know what's going to happen to it. This also protects their anonymity and their ability to choose what they share and what they don't. Also, be sure to always have trusted adults nearby to affirm the youth's sense of safety and connection should they become activated by writing their story, so that they're not alone, they're not isolated, and have access to people if they want that. It's also important that youth not only share their experience, but also have it affirmed. Thus, it's important to bookend the Mailbox project with a message of affirmation, no matter how subtle. So one way to do this is to include a message physically on the mailbox, such as you're seen or your experience is real, something that affirms it. Even having one of those trusted adults close to the mailbox, just make affirming eye contact as the youth submits their paper into that anonymous mailbox. You might imagine other ways to set up something similar to this mailbox project. The key elements are safety via anonymity, trust between the child and the facilitators, space to share their story if they so choose, and the positive framework for their survivor's narrative to be reframed.